So, what happens when you drop warriors from a warm coastal world smack dab into the middle of Manhattan on New Year's Eve? Well, you get a whole lot of chaos, some serious culture shock, and, believe it or not, some really heartwarming moments. All right, let's jump right into this explainer and piece together what happened on one single incredible night, based on a few different accounts.
And that, right there, is your first impression of Earth, folks. Courtesy of Yaya. I mean, this one quote just perfectly sets the stage, doesn't it? These aren't just tourists. They are true outsiders. And their perspective on our world is, well, it's going to be something else.
So their journey kicks off not with some gentle welcome, but with a literal blast of icy wind coming off the Hudson. It's an immediate shock to the system. They're going from their home to a place that feels completely alien in every single way, right down to the pavement under their feet.
Now this is Peppi, taking in the Manhattan skyline for the first time. And you can just feel her total awe and, honestly, her genuine confusion. Where she comes from, structures this massive might as well be mountains. The very idea of people living inside these giant things, it's both terrifying and absolutely fascinating to them.
Okay, so their first real human interaction, besides their guides Alex and Emily, is with the parents. And it goes pretty much exactly how you'd picture a classic first contact meets the suburbs scene would go, with a whole lot of awkward humor. Mrs. Whitmore lays eyes on the tall, stoic Jarru, and her mind just immediately goes to one place.
And there it is. Oh man, you can just picture their guide, Alex, just wanting the ground to swallow him whole right then and there. This one little question, though, it brilliantly shows you the immediate, almost mythical impression these visitors make on everyday people. They don't just look different, they carry a whole different kind of presence.
With the introductions out of the way, it's time for the real test, a full-on immersion into the heart of New York City. And for our Arreqqana visitors, this isn't just a tour. It is a complete and total assault on every single one of their senses. And where better to kick off a sensory overload than with food, right? So the sources tell us they basically went on this whirlwind tour of American eats, everything from breakfast staples to street food classics. And every single bite is a brand new and kind of baffling discovery.
This right here? This is just pure, unfiltered delight. Peppi's reaction isn't just, oh, this is good. It's like an emotional, almost spiritual experience for her. To her, something as simple as maple syrup is a profound discovery of what happiness tastes like. And then you get the total opposite of Peppi's emotional outburst. You get Jarru. He's way more serious, more analytical, but his reaction is just as powerful. He doesn't just taste a pancake, he sees its potential on a geopolitical scale. And that, right there, tells you everything you need to know about this guy.
So after the food, they have to deal with, the city itself. Times Square is described as this place where the lights are louder than the people, just a bewildering storm of brightness. But even that pales in comparison to their first encounter with the New York City subway. And this quote just brilliantly captures the culture shock. Jarru, a trained warrior, sees the daily commute not as some boring chore, but as a genuine feat of survival. It's such a hilarious deadpan line, and it totally reframes how you think about everyday city life.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. The experience builds from just sensory shock to something much deeper. It's not just about getting around a new place, it's about figuring out new relationships. And folks, this is where the source materials start to get complicated and really interesting.
So, as Jarru starts connecting with the people around him, this central question begins to pop up. Who is he really connecting with on an emotional level? And here's the thing. Depending on which account you're reading, the answer changes dramatically.
Let's just break this down. On one hand, in one source, Jarru's attention is laser-focused on Alex. He's protective, he's watchful, and he gets visibly bothered by casual stuff, like a friend ruffling Alex's hair. But then, in two other sources, he is explicitly and very affectionately Peppi's boyfriend. He's whispering compliments to her, he's proud of her joy. These are not just subtle hints. These are two completely different relationship dynamics being presented as fact.
So, this narrative split, it all comes to a head during the biggest moment of the night, the New Year's Eve ball drop. This is the big one. It's the emotional climax, and it's right here that the two potential storylines just completely break away from each other.
So the scene is set perfectly, right? The whole group is together on a rooftop high above the city. Peppi delivers this really beautiful line comparing their world to ours, and then the countdown begins. The suspense is just building and building towards this huge story-defining moment. And
Happy New Year! As the fireworks go off, the story literally fractures. What happens in this single instant depends entirely on which version of the story you're reading.
So in the first version, the climax is, well, it's quiet, it's internal. Jarru's just told Alex that being with him changes how he sees Earth. And while the entire city is celebrating, Jarru's gaze isn't on the sky, it's fixed on Alex. It's just this incredibly charged, emotional beat between the two of them.
But then you have the second version, and that exact same moment becomes this huge, explicit, romantic climax with Peppi. She declares her love, and he responds with a definitive, public kiss. It's the culmination of their love story, just as powerful, but a completely different story.
So look, regardless of which version you follow, one thing is absolutely clear. This one night in New York is transformative. It changes how these characters see our planet, and maybe more importantly, it changes how they see each other.
If we followed that first narrative path, the night ends with this incredibly poignant and kind of ambiguous statement from Jarru to Alex. It really cements this deep bond they have, but it leaves the exact nature of it open to interpretation. What's undeniable, though, is its importance.
And then in the other narrative, the night concludes with this really tender, romantic moment. It gives a warm, clear resolution to their story arc. It frames their relationship as the central emotional anchor of this entire experience. See the two very different endings?
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, for the characters, it's a night of profound growth. Yaya finds magic in the terror, Peppi finds overwhelming joy, and Jarru actually finds a reason to appreciate our chaotic world. But for us, the bigger takeaway is that the story gives us two equally compelling romantic paths, leaving its future totally wide open.
And all that leaves us with a pretty fascinating question. Is this a story about a protector finding this unexpected, powerful bond? Or is it a story about a lover sharing a brand new world with his partner? The sources give us both. And maybe the true meaning of this first contact isn't about choosing one answer, but about exploring the incredible potential of both possibilities.